Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. And today's video is going to concentrate on some other ancillary bits and pieces while we're waiting for the major components to come back from various places like the chromas and the shot blasting and all the rest of it. What we've got here is obviously the radiator. And we've taken a look at this before from the point of view of the fan and the motor were attached to a shroud which has gone off to be powder coated. I did test the motor first, that's in a previous video which you can find on the playlist, and it was found to be working without any problem. So we also know that the cooling system itself holds pressure. We tested that with a pressure tester, and again you can see that on one of the previous videos. I think I may have done a quick how-to on that actually. Water flows through this perfectly well. I've flushed this out, reverse flushed it. There's no problem with that whatsoever. The cores inside seem absolutely fine. So it seems a shame to send this off to be recored, bearing in mind that that's quite expensive. We're not scrimping on this project. We're spending a fair bit of money on getting everything right, but in the case of this, I think we can do a fair bit to make this look a lot better than it does. The main problem, apart from the fact that obviously it needs painting, is the fan, which you don't really see. That's all dirty. We can clean that up. That can go in the parts washer, and then the ultrasonic cleaner. If it needs any further attention, I may sneak that into the dishwasher when the other half's not watching. The motor itself, again, that just needs a bit of light rubbing down and a spraying over with some black satin paint. That'll tidy that up quite nicely. The radiator grille, I got this secondhand from somebody off a Facebook group. I hadn't actually seen it, and when it's come to me, it's in this sort of like a red oxide coating. It's almost like a plastic coating. I suppose it could be plastic coated. I don't actually know what colour these were. The pictures I've seen tend to suggest they may have been, I don't think it would have been anodized. They might have been zinc plated and possibly chromed around the outside. I'm not sure, but I think I'm just going to go with spraying this black, a satin black, which will match the radiator core. Yeah, I think I'll just go with that, and we'll see what that looks like. If it doesn't look right when it's back on the bike, we can always take it off. It's an easy enough job to take it off and have a rethink. But I think that's what we're going to go for a start. So the biggest job really we've got to tackle on this is the state of these fins, let's call them, in the core. And as is typical, when a radiator's been off and it's been sat around for a long time, people put things on top of it, they get banged and knocked around, and all these fins, or a lot of these fins, get either squashed together or bent up. It's not so bad on that side, it's actually worse on the front side. So we've got to try and straighten all these fins. There's really only one way of doing that, and that's with a pair of pliers, and you literally go around every single one that looks bent and you try and straighten it out. So it's a bit of a thankless task. When it's done, I'm sure it'll look a lot better, and then we'll spray it black, spray the whole thing black. Yeah, I mean, it's the sort of thing that once it's on the bike and you've got the grill in front of it, as long as most of those are straightened out and it looks it looks a uniform colour, they'll sort of fade away into the background. You won't really notice those too much. So that's what we're going to do now. Obviously I'm not going to spend hours and hours videoing this because you're just going to get bored with that. But yeah, what I've got is I've got a pair of these, get it in focus, got these pliers. Well, I think they call them sort of like a platypus nose plier or something like that. That's what I call it anyway. And it's really useful for this sort of thing because you can just get these in here. Like for instance, that one there. I don't know if you can. Let me see if I can zoom in a bit. Yeah, so you can see those a bit closer now. You can see they're all bent up, but you can literally just get these in there, and you can literally just start to. My fan's probably in the way. Let's try it like that. And you literally just do this with every single one until you start to get them looking as straight as possible again. So obviously as you do this, you start moving them around, and it's best to get them straight first, and then once they're straight you can start to get, or hopefully get, an even gap between them. So as I say, it's a thankless task. It's time, really. There's nothing complex about this. It's just monotonous and takes a lot of time, but the results are worth it in the end. So I'm going to crack on with that, and then we'll come back later on when I've finished that and sprayed it, and we'll see what it looks like. Okay, so that's taken a couple of hours or so. It's not perfect, but it's considerably better than it was. I mean, the purpose of trying to straighten all those fins out is, well, A, cosmetic, B, to try and improve the airflow through the core, so that we get as efficient cooling as possible. So to aid that, it's pretty clear. I can see through most of it, but I think next job is clean all this off with some brake cleaner, and then we'll get the air compressor on it, and we'll just blow through all those fins, see if we can get rid of anything else that's left in there. So I've bought myself a large vat, for want of a better word, of brake cleaner, so I can keep topping up this bottle and pressurise it, because I get fed up buying aerosols of brake cleaner which cost a fortune, and then they last 5 minutes. And it's useful for all sorts of things, as I'm sure you know, not just cleaning brakes and clutches. So I've labelled up the bottle. So I only put this in there, and we pump this up. Then a cup of tea out of the way. I don't want to be drinking this stuff. Okay, and then there we go. Okay, I'm going to go and give that a blow out with the compressor now. Clean up.
Top 10 countdown. Number 3. Going to the shops isn't everyone's bag. Like Toby here, he never knows where his plants, so he gets everything he needs for dinner delivered to his door from as little as 20 minutes with Tesco Whoosh.
Don't you think of this one, Martha? You're growing so fast, little one. Blooming lovely, aren't you?
Carry on, Toby. Tesco Whoosh. November sale. Another pound by 5 more units ends 22nd November.
Turn it up to 11.
That's the painting all done. The rubber cover is all cleaned up, and I've cleaned up the armature, checked the brushes, all rotates nice and smoothly. So this can go back together now. Clearly a very strong magnet on that. Got the grommet in place. and get the screw holes lined up. Okay, so we've got that's turning nice and freely. A couple of cleaned up screws go back in place. You don't see any of this. This is behind the fan, but it's nice just to clean them up. I know it's been done then. Okay, we're going to test this again anyway once it's rebuilt, just to make sure everything's okay. That seems pretty free to me. Oops. Looks fine. And then we've got the rubber boot. So the grommet kit only going in one place, and there's a hole here which I'm guessing is a just to let moisture or water out if it gets in there. So that'll be at the bottom once it's all back together. And then this rubber boot has a cutout at the bottom, which is for the cable. I've cleaned the cable up as best I can as well. So that just sits over there like so. Got the original part number on there, which is nice. So that's that all back together, and then that bolts into the shroud, which is off being powder coated at the moment, so we'll worry about that when we get it back. So the final thing to do with that is the fan itself. I seem to have got overspray on that, don't quite manage that. It's been in the parts cleaner, then the ultrasonic cleaner. It's come up quite well, so there's no reason to put it in the dishwasher and risk the wrath of the other half. So basically what you've got on here are two flats and a flat or two flats inside that insert. So that goes down onto there, engage it onto the flats, and then finally you've got a washer and a single nut which goes on there, and that's basically it as far as that goes. There's nothing else involved. So I shall get my I think it's an 8mm spanner and do that up, but basically that's it. So last thing to do is to just double check this, make sure it's still spinning okay with the power supply, but I'm sure it will be, and that can go in the completed parts box. Okay, so I'll just show you the other bits that I've finished off as well. Okay, so this is the radiator and the grill. We're missing a couple of parts. There's a big piece of metal that sits along here, a shroud, and along the top as well, that this actually bolts into. This doesn't bolt into the radiator itself. It bolts into those, so it's difficult to say exactly where it goes at the moment, but it's something like that. So there we are. That's all done, all sorted, ready to go back on as and when everything else arrives. So yeah, we're getting a few bits now that are coming together. So I've got a massive box of rubber grommets and bits and pieces that I've had in the parts washer, and then also in the ultrasonic cleaner. We've got the front master cylinder, which is all done. That's just waiting for the rebuild kit. I've got the rebuild kit now, I just haven't done it yet. We've got our various calipers and bolts and bits and pieces that have all been cleaned up and sorted. And then in let's move that out of the way in a minute. In this box we have a few other bits and pieces that I've done. So there were the fork legs that I polished in the last video, and the bottoms of those, and then there's our calipers with the red dots on. And I had a spare couple of minutes, so I just did that the overflow bottle as well. So that's where we're at the minute. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe down below, and I will see you in the next video.